Hello, everybody. This is Brian McClay from CBSI Presents Tales from the FlipSide. We're here with the CBSI Hot Ten Show for October 25th, 2019. I'm here with Ben S., and we've got a good show for you guys tonight. We want to mention to check out the Simple Man YouTube channel for the Last Call Final Order Cutoff Show for October 28th, 2019. Make sure you check it out. They're killing it over there. And we appreciate the good job they're doing. So, Ben, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, Brian. Better than you. You still sound a little sick, but
I am. I finally went into the doctor after 3 weeks of dealing with this, and they basically told me, "Yeah, you got bronchitis. What are you doing, not getting into the doctor?" And I said, "Yeah." So. We're gonna do our best to get this show going, and hopefully you guys won't be hearing me hacking in the background.
Yeah. All right, so we'll just go ahead and jump right into the list this week, and we'll as we always do, we start out with the two honorable mentions, and the first one is from the Golden Age, and it is Pre-Code Horror this week, and it's Weird Terror number 7. And this is a pretty crazy looking cover. It's a dude in a furnace looking out as he's being burned alive by some guy, and he's pouring it, like throwing coal on in the furnace.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like when you really look at these, like, can you imagine these being on the newsstand today? Like, it's crazy.
Well, what blows me away is there's with the whole rabbit hole that John Z has kind of helped lead the FlipSide crew down in those foreign variants, and what he's doing with some of the foreign guys, that is just pretty amazing. But one of the things that has popped up out of that group are some of those old school foreign horror covers that are just horrendous. And I'm thinking, they're foreign, so they kind of got a different mindset of what is really bad, in different countries. And then I think about it, and this is from the 50s here in the United States, and some of this stuff is just as bad as some of those crazy, horror covers out of those foreign variants. This stuff it kind of makes you think, yeah, I understand why they did some of those.
It's nuts.
Seduction of the innocent stuff.
Yeah, right. So guide value, and again, we always just throw the guide value on these Golden Age just as a reference point, but guide value in about about a 6.0 grade is about $175, but this week a 5.5 CGC 5.5 sold for $1,900.
Wow,
which is like 12 times guide value on this. And to kind of put it in perspective, the last 5.5 sold 3 years ago for only $350. So it's went up 6x in 3 years. So that's pretty good return on your investment on that.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So. Crazy. All right. And the other honorable mention this week, and I'm actually kind of happy or kind of excited about this one, is Star Wars Heir to the Empire #1. This is the first appearance of Thrawn. It's also the first appearance of Mara Jade. Yep. Now, I think there's some people who don't really consider this like a first appearance because Thrawn, like the whole storyline was in book form.
Shadows of the Empire, right?
Yeah. So it's a Timothy Zahn novel, and then it was adapted to comics. So I guess some people don't think that, or I guess kind of had the idea that it's not really like a first appearance. But I mean, if you really think about it, I mean, there's comics made all the time that were adapted from either movies or whatever some other kind of media or something like that.
Look at the Star Wars, some of the Star Wars first appearances, like Boba Fett. I mean, he's got first appearances in other things that are comics, aren't comics. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you probably look at quite a few different scenarios. I mean, there's there's all kinds of that around there. But this is the Heir to the Empire was heavily printed. Yes. Back when it came out. But even still, Thrawn is a rising character. It as Doc Joe said, or I think he may have been talking about the Weird Terror, but yeah, it's it's a great first appearance, and it's only been selling in like the $5 to $10 range. Recent sales 15 to 20. A 9.6 newsstand copy sold for $140 this week. So yeah, if you can find one for $5 to $10 and then get it graded, I mean that's you're going to make some good money off of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're going to find it, look for the newsstand if you can find a high grade. Otherwise, find high grade. Just in the direct edition.
Yeah.
Before we get into or jump into number 10, thanks for everybody who's listening or watching. Even if you're watching, later down the road on YouTube, hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and comment. Just let us know what's going on. Let us know what you think, and we'll respond if we see it for sure. So let's now get into the list. Number 10, this one just came out this week. It's Luna Snow number 1. It's the In Hyuk Lee 1 in 100 Virgin variant. He apparently is doing all of these 1 in 100 versions for this, what is it, First Furies, or is that what it is?
Yeah.
This Marvel line that they're doing, this kind of this, anime. Is this a video game or is
That's
this
a good question, because I never heard of it before. Maybe if somebody's in the comment section might have an idea.
Yeah, but it's all kind of this anime type stuff. So that one, the White Fox that came out a few weeks ago, made the honorable mention a few weeks ago. This one's kind of in the same vein. This one has only had 2 sales, but it was a VF minus copy for $75, and then a VF near mint copy sold for $250, which is 2.5 times ratio. And I think there's only one listed currently on eBay. So these are just basically impossible to get. And
they're beautiful. Absolutely. For people out there that I think we've talked about this on the last one that was on the show, people are going to be set building these sets and they're that hard to come by. I think there could be some room to grow on this, maybe. Yeah, and I think In Hyuk Lee is a great artist, and it looks good. It's real stylish, and for the crowd that I think that book is geared towards, I think it's a definite hit. So, anyways, it could have been White Fox number 1 as well, because those are selling for $250 as well to $300. So, either one of those, if you can get lucky enough to find one, that's good for you, because I've not seen any of these. So yeah. Okay, and all right, let's go to number 9, and this one is a beautiful art journal cover. It is Amazing Mary Jane number 1. This came out this week as well. This one was an unannounced secret variant. This is the chalk variant. So down where her name is written, or where the title is written, The Amazing Mary Jane, the regular art germ is in red, like bubble letters, and this one is made to look like something from the, an actual movie. Slate. Yeah. So absolutely, we talked about this before the show, how gorgeous this book is, and I think it's, for me, in my personal opinion, it's probably one of the top 3 art germ covers that I can think of. Absolutely gorgeous. The whole 30s, like you were talking about, the 30s feel to it. Yeah, it looks good. It definitely looks good. These secret variants, they generally do pretty well initially out of the gate. This one's selling for about 10 to 15. But it seems that they're, because it was this one's kind of a variant of a variant. It's not a variant of the regular cover. These may actually be in a little shorter supply, I would think, overall, than what some of the other secret variants, where they, put like a blood splatter or something, but it's always on like the normal cover. So it's the ratio that they did is like 1 in 10 for those, but they did it based on the regular cover order for the other ones. This one was based on the variant order of this art germ variant. So I would tend to think that there's going to be fewer of these, out there than like some of the other secret variants that have happened here recently.
Because you'd have to basically order 20 Art Germ variant covers to actually get two of this particular book for the week. So
Yeah.
I think comparatively at the $10 to $15 price is probably pretty good.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, we also, if you want to mention, we have our giveaway book this week, and kind of goes along with this.
Yep. We actually, so our giveaway this week is actually going to be a copy that you see right here. So, it's that book number 9 on the list, and we will get that sent out to somebody. So we'll pick somebody from the chat here, and then after we announce that, you can shoot us an email at what is it? FlipSide.
CBSI FlipSide at gmail.com.
I don't even know the email address.
CBSI FlipSide at gmail.com, I believe.
If that email for some reason does not work, hit me up on Instagram and just send me a direct message at the Wall Comics, and I'll get your information and I'll send it out to you.
Yep. We'll figure out a way to get it to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you can't get a hold of one of us, just keep messaging us. We'll feel, like I said, we'll get it out to you. But all right, so let's continue on with the list here at number 8. This is the Soulfire preview. So I guess there was an announcement yesterday, maybe, that there was I guess Soulfire and Fathom are going to have a cartoon on something like that.
And this Michael Turner property has been people have been waiting for that type of announcement for a while. I think this is perfect for anime type stuff.
Yeah. So this one was about a $15-$20 book, and now it's selling for about $30-$35. There is a variant of this book from the Pittsburgh Comic-Con. It's a Michael Turner variant as well. It's gorgeous. It's kind of like a sepia tone. It's really, if you do a Google search on it, it's a gorgeous looking book. There's only 750 copies of that one. So if you're going to get one of this book, I would say the Pittsburgh Comic-Con is probably the one to get. The other issue is this actually Soulfire's first appearance?
Yeah, I think one of the things that a lot of the Michael Turner books had was there was a lot of variants for a lot of his books. And so there's probably a few that maybe we don't know about out there, rolling around out there. Yeah,
so Topher made it, or kind of mentioned to me that he thought the first appearance was the sketchbook, which is the Aspen sketchbook, which came out in, I believe, February of 2003. And the Pittsburgh Comic-Con was given away April 2003. But this one actually has like a story. The sketchbook is just art. It's just showing Soulfire and Fathom. So I guess whether or not it's got story or doesn't have story, or which one actually came out first, because both books don't say the actual time when they came out. They just say 2003.
Yeah.
And CGC, the grading on they only say it 2003. They don't give a month. But I believe that's what, just kind of doing some brief research, I think Pittsburgh Comic-Con was April 2003, and the sketchbook came out in February of 2003. So either way, I don't know whether or not you should really be putting a bunch of money into Soulfire. Whether or not I don't, have you ever read one? Have you ever read an Aspen book?
Not a single one.
Yeah. Pretty much Aspen sells because of the covers, either Michael Turner or J. Scott Campbell or whoever they got in. Some of the Siomes are gorgeous looking, but I honestly don't know anything about the stories or anything like that. But
yep, I'm right there with you.
Yep. So,
yeah.
All right. So moving on to number 7 on the list this week. And this is Justice League number 1, sometimes referred to as Justice League America or America / International. But it's from 1987. It's kind of a classic cover.
Oh yeah, big time iconic. Kevin McGuire, is that who did this? If I remember correctly.
Yeah. I think that's who did the cover. But I know that's who the artist was. But I'm assuming he did the cover. But it is the first appearance of Maxwell Lord, who I guess was announced that he. I'm surprised that he wasn't. Was it not known until just this week that he was going to be in the Wonder Woman movie?
I think that from what I read and heard people saying, it's kind of been like the secret that everybody kind of knows about, and it just hasn't been a press release hasn't been done. So it's kind of one of those things that people have been specking on for a little bit now.
Okay. I haven't really. I checked the raw copies on this, and I went back quite a ways, and not really much of a gain on the raw copy side. But I think it's just because there are just so many of these books. I mean, there's got to be at least 500,000 of these books out there. I mean, there's just a truckload of this. I mean, it was printed in the mid-late 80s, and it was a number 1, and it was Justice League, and
big rollout.
Yeah, I mean, just huge print runs, but 9/8 have jumped from 9,200 to 130, 140, so they're up about 30% or so, which is, I mean, I guess if you got them, move them. But I know there's some kind of there's the thing I put on the article on comicbookinvest.com was that my guess is he's only going to be in one movie, right? So most likely he's going to die, and if he does, it's very possible it could be by Wonder Woman breaking his neck, which she did in the comics.
Infinite Crisis, right?
No, in Wonder Woman number 219.
Okay, and I think that was a big deal because that happened during that whole. It was like one of the Infinite Crisis things, right?
It may have been. That may have been about, because it was 2005, so that's probably about that same time frame. Yep. And they did actually make a second print of that Wonder Woman 219, with a totally different cover. So if you're looking at stuff like that, probably look for the second print. I usually pick up second prints. I've never seen that second print, but I don't even know if I really realized there was a second print until the last few days. So
I remember when that book initially came out where she broke his neck, it was a big deal. And people had talked. I remember walking into the comic book shop and saying, "Oh, you need to check this out," and somebody showing me it, and it was a real big deal at the time because it was kind of like something that Wonder Woman wasn't supposed to do, just like Superman isn't supposed to kill somebody,
Right, right. So anyways, yeah, I mean, do with that what you want. I can't see that it would ever be a huge dollar book on that, or but. All right, so let's move on to number 6, and this one came out this week as well, and apparently, from what I've heard, most people went to the store to look for this and couldn't find it.
Beautiful cover.
Yeah, it is a gorgeous cover. It's Batman Beyond number 37, and they introduced Batwoman Beyond in this issue. I don't know what kind of long-term play this is, but $15 to $20, for the A cover out of the gates, pretty good, especially for a Batman Beyond book. But yeah, I agree. It's kind of like your John Tyler Christopher. It's got a lot of the negative space, where it's kind of her, it kind of bleeds into the black, and it is a pretty good looking cover.
Is that Kubert's signature I see there? I can't tell very well. I'm not sure.
I don't know who did the cover on this, to be honest. But
it is a really cool looking cover, that's for sure.
It is. So
all the hype of the Batwoman show on TV now, and I think it just got announced that they're going to do a full season of it. So maybe that has a little spec play into it.
Have you watched any of that?
I haven't yet. Is it any good?
I've not. I've literally not watched more than like one episode of any TV in the past
Yeah.
2 months. I just have not. I have no time whatsoever.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, let's. We're right here in the middle of the list now, and this one is it's an odd one. So number 5, we got Thorn, Tales from the Lantern. It has no number, has no publisher, but this is the first appearance of Bone. Bone number 1 was on the list last week, and a copy of this was found and then sent to CGC. And came back in 9.0, and the guy put it up for sale on auction. There's only 3 or maybe 4 graded copies of this book, so there are very, very few of these available. It's really difficult to tell if the sale price. This is not the highest graded. It was a 9.0. There is a 9.4 out there somewhere, but it sold at auction for $4,800 yesterday. That's a big number for basically a compilation kind of niche book. I mean, this is not mainstream. Most people that outside of, really heavy comic book collectors probably don't even know what this is. Or probably if they saw it in a store would probably walk right past it and be like, I'm not buying that.
And to explain to people what it is, you mentioned compilation. What actually?
So basically, Jeff Smith is from Columbus, Ohio, and he wrote Bone as the Ohio State newspaper is called the Lantern. So that's what they call it. And for years, he did Bone cartoons, and they were in the Lantern newspaper. And then in 1983, he took whatever was there and compiled them and put them into comic book form, and that's what this is. So, very for like kind of indie grail collectors, this is like top. This is one of the top. I mean, it's way, way high as far as people that would want this book. I mean, and that's why $4,800 is a big sale. I don't know.
To be honest, I felt like it could have gone much higher than that.
I think it could have. It ended on a Thursday morning at 1 a.m. on Eastern time, so it was. Yeah, I mean, it was a weird time to end an auction. And Doc, it was Ohio State, or it was at Ohio State, is where this came from. But I live an hour and a half from Ohio State, and I've never seen this book. So,
super rare.
And yes, self-published. It's just one of those things that is kind of an anomaly, but it's very, very highly sought after. I honestly think the person who got it for $4,800 probably got a pretty good deal on it.
Yeah.
But
I wouldn't be surprised if that person took it and immediately put it right back up for sale for twice the amount. Yeah,
I mean, if the audience was a little bigger, then I think it may have gone even higher. But still, $4,800 for this is pretty big sale. So that's why I threw it on the list this week.
Yeah. All right.
Number 4, and it is a 3-time repeat book.
Crazy.
It's insane. I'm shocked. It's Marvel Celebrates Stan Lee. No number. It's the book that was given out. We kind of went over this the last couple weeks. It's insane. 2 weeks ago, when it made the list the first time, it was $500. Last week, it made the list again. It was $600 to $700. This week, it makes it again. It's now $800 to $900.
Wow.
Yeah, it's insane.
It is a beautiful cover. I never would have thought this book would see that. I mean, it's getting way higher than the Disney D23 variant.
Yes. And I wonder if it's just I don't know. I mean, it's strange. I don't know if it's just kind of the mystique of it, or what. I don't know. It's a strange one, but it is what it is. It's now. I mean, it's basically approaching $1,000 book. And again, it's kind of the same thing that we kind of already have talked about before. I think once the people that actually buy all these up, they're not buying them to resell them. I think they're buying them to keep them. Yes. And once these issues are sold, I have a feeling that it's going to be few and far between, to where 5-10 years from now, this book will be like it'll be like an urban legend. Like there was a book that was what? And people are going to be like, oh my gosh, where do you find this book? And nobody's going to be able to find it.
Kind of like we were just talking about with that Tales from the Lantern. Do I think it's going to get anywhere near that Tales from the Lantern? I personally don't. It's definitely not even anywhere near as rare, but it's kind of that same type of thing where people, are going to keep them, or they're just so hard to find that. Like you said, it's going to be an afterthought, and when people see it again, it could just be worth twice as much.
Yeah.
The past 3 shows, like you guys, like you said, Ben, it's kind of crazy to have this be on the show 3 times, but every time I see it, I just think of how much even more beautiful the cover is. It's just a really beautiful cover.
It really is.
Yeah, so.
Okay, moving on to number 3, and Bloodshot trailer dropped this week, amazingly, after all the time.
I think it was much better than we expected.
It's probably just the fact that I think it actually came out was probably a shock to most, because I think most people probably just figured it would never happen. So Rye number 0 is back on the rise again. First full appearance of Bloodshot. Lots of sales, tons of sales this week, but there's tons of this book out there. So be careful on this. A lot of people sitting on a lot of copies that are going to try and cash in. And
the trailer was absolutely, it blew me away. I didn't expect it to be that good. I mean, it's not like it was amazing, but for the expectations that I had from the whole Ninjak debacle on the YouTube show, and I wasn't expecting the trailer to be as good as it was. So I will say that. But like you said, there are a ton of these books, and I think we've talked about it on a couple of FlipSide shows, that a lot of people are sitting on a lot of copies of this.
They are, but 9/8 are back. Back over 150 again. Glossies are up close to 400 again. But I expect probably over the next couple months that there's going to be a ton of them listed. So it's probably going to keep the price down, just because the supply is going to be up, so high. But we'll see what happens when I've heard things that basically this movie has to succeed for any future Valiant projects to have any chance. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, before we get on to the next one, let's go ahead and mention we do have number 9 book this week as our giveaway book. That way we do our giveaways are either in the chat on this live viewing, or on the comments on the top 10 list itself at Comic Book Invest. We will pick either a comment or a chat from the live chat, and whichever one we pick, we'll send you out this book. So if this is a book that something might be your fancy, go ahead and leave a comment on comicbookinvest.com before the end of the show, or comment in our live chat, and you might be the lucky winner. So, and another thing I want to talk about before we get on to number 2, last week, one of the honorable mentions was kind of in the news on Bleeding Cool, if I remember correctly, right, Ben? They kind of picked up what we were kind of talking about in last week's episode with this early Hellboy appearance. If you want to explain that from last week. Yeah.
So the Salt Lake City, I guess I don't know if it's a program or giveaway or what it was, but this had the first kind of prototype, image of Hellboy. it doesn't really look like Hellboy, but he's wearing a dog tag or something that says Hellboy on it. So that's who it was. And obviously characters, kind of change in what they look like initially, but so this sold for like $5,000. And it's got a tear on the cover and everything, but apparently it's just so hard to find that the buyer knew what it was, the seller knew what it was, and so that's it. So what happened was, so this information came out. Our own Topher got kind of interested in it, and when he kind of gets a bug in his ear, yes. He kind of is like, well, let me see what else I can find. And he's like, well, so he had some of these John Byrne's and X-Men series sitting around. He knew that John Byrne was friends with Mike Mignola. And so he just decided to read these issues again, and came across this panel in Next Men 14 that is Hellboy right there on
poster in the background.
in the comic. And apparently somebody actually said that they look at the or if on the Indicia. Is it called Indicia? Is that whatever?
Indicia or Indica?
Whatever it is. Wherever they put the credits and stuff at the beginning of the book, it actually says Hellboy 1993. Copyright Hellboy 1993, and this came out prior to San Diego Comic-Con, which is generally considered his first appearance. I don't think anybody's ever saying that this is his first full appearance or anything like that, but Hellboy people seem to be all over this type of stuff. I mean, that's why that's why they're looking for the first color appearance, and as opposed to the first black and white and all this stuff. I mean, that's just what they like. I mean,
Hellboy is one of those characters where he has a lot of those appearances that people are chasing. That somebody might say, "Oh, this is the first appearance. This might be a cameo," and it's interesting because this goes back to the whole, what's a true first appearance and what not. And that's always up to the person that is buying it, in my opinion. Buy what you want. And, if you're a Hellboy fan, you're going to be out there searching these things. So
yeah,
it's still cool that nobody's seen this and noticed this for years upon years upon years.
Right. So Topher never said, go out and buy this. He never said, hey, this should be a $50 book. This should be a $100 book. Topher never says any of that. He just basically said, hey, look at this cool information. I found this. It predates it, and here it is. I get this was and I put this in the description this week that it's kind of been like a trigger. People are triggered by this for some reason and get really angry about it. And I'm not really sure why everybody is so angry about it. I mean, honestly, this book's been sitting in dollar bins for the last 25 years. If you would have read it, you could have found this. Just because Topher is the only one who read this and found this out, I'm not sure why everybody's getting so mad about it. Yeah. Are people capitalizing on it and jacking up prices? Well, yeah, they're listing it for whatever they want to. Should people be spending that? No, because there's probably 200,000 of these out there.
Yeah, I mean, a perfect example. We've got people right now who are in the chat that disagree with it, and that's totally fine. You have that right, but it's just very interesting that, like you said, it sets people off some bit. So
no, I mean it is what it is. I mean, whether or not you go buy it, I wouldn't. I'm sure probably every person that's mad about this has probably been to their LCS trying to find it.
Yeah.
In the dollar bins. I can almost guarantee that everybody's probably like, heck, I'm going to go look for it.
Don't hate the hustle, right?
No, I mean but just because the information is given, there's no need to sit there and start yelling at him and telling him he's pump and dumping and doing all this stuff. I mean, come on. It just because he gives information doesn't mean that, one, he's even selling the book. Two, it's just kind of mean spirited, and it takes away. Honestly, this type of stuff should be a lot of Topher, what he gives, I don't agree with. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that I think all these things are like the coolest thing, but there are people that do. And so because there are people that do, he has fun with it. He's like, look, I want to go read books from, I mean, who goes back and reads John Burns' Next Men? I'm not going to go back and read that. And I mean, who cares? But he did. And so he noticed something. So what? So then he shares it with everybody. And then, pretty much like anytime anybody starts talking about a book, you're going to draw attention to it, yes. Whether it's on a comicbookinvest.com website or whether it's just on Facebook. If you start talking about a book, people are going to be like, oh, huh. But that doesn't mean you're pump and dumping it. Everything that he said is correct. It's not. He's not lying about anything. He's not saying, "Oh yeah, this is Hellboy," and it's not. And it's that
means
Sapien or something like that. It's not.
Yeah, it means your Next Men 21s or your Dime Press or your, the one that we talked about last week. That doesn't mean that those are worth any less. Trust me, those are always going to be worth money to, especially the Hellboy fans, who are some of the most rabid fans in the comic community. So
okay, and see, I'm looking at some of these comments, and hey, I appreciate the comments. There's comments, basically saying that people are trying to manipulate other people. Nobody's trying to manipulate anything. There are some terrible first appearances out there.
Yeah, Jimmy
Olsen, that is a ridiculous first appearance. I mean, ridiculous. It looks nothing like Darkseid. It's in a TV screen in the background.
It's back to this,
it's terrible, but somehow that's accepted. Yes. I mean, seriously, like there's a comment, make a case for Hulk 180 over 181. Absolutely. Why is 181? Because he's on the cover. Why is ASM 299 not Venom's first appearance? It should be. It is his first appearance.
Well, it's kind of interesting because this kind of lies into the same thing. You get to that Hulk 180, 181 thing. A couple of years back, if you remember, it kind of got talked about more and more on the a couple of forums where you could go find those. I think it was Daredevil book and a Thor book and another book that has the ad for Hulk 181 where it shows Wolverine in the ad, and everybody were going crazy for those books. And just to go out and get it. Did people think that they were buying the first appearance of Wolverine? I don't know. Who knows? But it did put a little bit of interest into some of those books that people might not have been buying. So in my opinion, I think whatever breathes more life into some of these books that might have been sitting in dollar bins, I'm all for.
Yeah, it's just honestly, I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't understand people going out and buying them. I don't get that. I wouldn't do that either. Logically, my mind says there are 200,000 copies of this out there. Whether I think it's cool or not cool, I'm not going to go out and spend $50 on this book. I'll let the market determine what the price is, and then if I really want it, then 3 months later, then okay, I'll see what it is. And if it's $15, then if that's what I want, I'll go spend $15. Okay, great. And now I've got it. Now I'm happy with it. But me determining what other people want to spend their money on, it's not my job to determine what other people spend their money on. Yep. I've got tons of books sitting on my desk that I think are awesome, that I think should be, really expensive books, and they're worth nothing. But just because I think that they should be, and I say, hey, I think that should be worth something, doesn't mean that I'm doing anything nefarious or I'm trying to manipulate the market or I'm trying to, take people or anything like that. It's just it's conspiracy theories, and it's just
kind of tiring.
It is. It doesn't make sense. I like I said, I'm not going out and buying this, but some people are, and some people like it, and they're glad to find it. Good for them. It is what it is.
But on the talk of Topher, before we get on to number one, I do want to talk about go check out Simple Men's Comics YouTube site. If you guys do like Topher and what he does, you can check Topher out his articles on comicbookinvest.com. You can also check him out on Simple Man's YouTube site as The Mass Speculator. He does some real cool videos over there, and I'm sure that you guys will enjoy them. So go check them out over at Simple Man's Comics, and also check out the Last Call Final Order Cutoff show. So we'll get on to the final book in our calendar.
Well, and before we go that, I will go ahead and pick somebody here to give to do this giveaway. And I saw the comment before. Where did it go?
This beautiful art germ book for the Amazing Mary Jane #1.
Yes,
number 9.
We will give it to John Cruz. I liked his comment there in the chat about rumors Max Lord with mind control powers. That's what the rumor is, and he's going to think, or he's going to try and make Wonder Woman think Trevor is alive. I did not know that rumor was out there, but that makes sense. So anyways, John, contact us. We'll and I'll get this Amazing Mary Jane #1 art germ chalk variant out to you.
And thanks for checking in, John. We appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, the big book this week.
Yeah, and man, is this big! Insanity. Marvel Action Spider-Man #10. It's a 1 in 10 John Boy Myers variant of Venom. Crazy. I mean, I think when I wrote this, it was selling $120 to $150. I think I saw $180 sale after I wrote this. I believe, I haven't checked in the last 6 hours or 7 hours, but I tried really hard to think back of any 1 in 10 variant going this crazy instantly. It's unbelievable. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. It's a great cover. Is it that great? I don't think it's that great. But man, again, this is people are spending their money, and they're spending big money. I remember when I got back in comics 4 years ago, the thought of spending $100 on a comic was frightening to me. I was like, I'm not spending $100 on a comic. And I mean, these people are spending $100 on a comic that just came out. Yeah, it probably is somewhat short printed because it is an IDW title. But I mean, $150 that's a lot. That's a lot of money. But again, I'm not going to tell people what to spend their money on. If they want to spend $150 on this, by all means, go ahead and spend $150 on this. It's just all I know is it's definitely the number. There's no other book this week that would be #1. This had to be #1.
Can you explain the reason the IDW is on there? What is that about?
From the Marvel title. So Marvel Marvel basically subbed out some of their stuff to IDW. So like their cartoonish titles, they subbed those out. They did the same thing with some of their Disney titles. They subbed those out to Joe Books or something like that. So that's what I guess they just decided the marketing for IDW or Joe Books or whatever it was, that it would more fit those companies than it did Marvel itself. So
that's very interesting.
So they kind of just subbed it out, but that's generally what it was.
Here, God Almighty says they also do Captain Marvel, Avengers, and Black Panther. So. Yeah,
and it's kind of like the cartoonish versions of it. So, they're not going to have the actual Amazing Spider-Man or something at IDW. That's why it's this Marvel Action Spider-Man. But again, no way that this was not going to be the #1 book this week. People who are calling it, Jack and Brian called it weeks and weeks ago, that this was going to be a big book.
Yeah.
I don't buy any of these. I don't buy these I don't pre-order anything. So I obviously missed out on this one, but oh well. No, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt my feelings.
All you that did not miss out on it, more power to you. Go make some money off of this.
Absolutely. Good for you. Good for you. But yeah,
crazy.
So again, thank everybody for joining in, either on Facebook or on YouTube. Thanks for the comments. Even if you're disagreeing with me, even if you're mad about Next Men, that's fine. Please, continue to comment, but keep it civil.
I do want to mention for all of you guys that enjoy Tales from the Flip Side, if you join us on Monday, we have a very big show. We have an amazing CGC haul that we're going to be talking about. The first part of a CGC haul from somebody who came across a really nice Silver Age collection. So make sure you guys tune in for that. It'll be the first set of books that are coming back from that haul. You do not want to miss this one. And also, for any of you guys that join us on that show, we will be giving away this Heist #1 variant from Vault Comics. It features an homage to Eternals #1 by Jack Kirby. So if you guys like this cover and you want to try and score yourself a free copy, make sure to check out CBSI Presents Tales from the Flip Side Monday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. And don't miss the CGC haul. It's going to be a blast. So we appreciate everybody checking us out. And hopefully you enjoyed the show. Let us know in the comments section. Make sure you subscribe and like. And we'll catch you on the flip side.